Okay, I'm back, and now in our previous segment we talked about when the plates are pulled apart, that was divergence. We also talked about when the plates are pushed together, that's convergence. And now we want to talk about transform, which is going to be when the plates slide past each other. And this can happen in a couple of different ways. One way occurs at these mid-ocean ridges where you've got one mid-ocean ridge. Now this is the top-down view, is causing one side is pushing the ocean plate that way, and then one side is pushing the ocean plate that way. Okay, but because of the curvature of the Earth, sometimes you will get another divergent zone right here. And can you see that this one is going this way and then this one is going this way? Well, look right here. So right in between them, can you see that this plate wants to go this way, but this plate wants to go that way, so that you're going to have a breakage in the rock. And so that's going to be a transform fault when that happens. And so these transform faults can eat into a continent. And so an example of this is the San Andreas Fault. So the San Andreas Fault is where you've got the Pacific plate is trying to go northwest, and then the North American plate is trying to go southeast, and then they're going against each other. And now what happens though is that the two plates, they get stuck, and then all of a sudden they release. So when they release, that's how you generate an earthquake. You also generate an earthquake in a subduction zone. So the subduction zone was where one plate is going underneath it like this, and so this plate gets stuck, and then all of a sudden it releases when it goes underneath it. So you can have some of the worst earthquakes can occur at a subduction zone. And so an example of that would be in South America with the Andes Mountains. So they have very bad earthquakes down there. So anytime the rocks get stuck and then they build up pressure, and then when they finally release, that's what's going to cause an earthquake. Now, people also then ask about Hawaii, because if you look at Hawaii, it is right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's in the middle of the Pacific plate. So there is no plate boundary where Hawaii is. So why is Hawaii so volcanic? Okay, that's because it sits on top of a hotspot. And a hotspot is just an area where there's a lot of magma underneath it, and this magma occasionally sends up a big blob up to the surface, kind of like a lava lamp. And so currently, this blob of magma is underneath the big island of Hawaii. So the big island of Hawaii is currently volcanic. But what's going to happen though is, because the Pacific plate is moving, eventually that volcano is going to move off of the hotspot, and so it's going to go dormant. So if you look at the Hawaiian Islands, have you ever noticed that the biggest one is the one that's currently volcanic? And then as you get further away from it, you notice that the islands are getting smaller and smaller. That's because of wind and wave action is basically eroding those islands down. So that's what a hotspot is. And there's a hotspot underneath the islands of Hawaii, but there's also another hotspot underneath North America, and it is underneath Yellowstone National Park. So the actual park is inside the crater of this super volcano, which currently it's dormant, but it erupts about every 100,000 years. And guess what? It's pretty much due to erupt. And so when it erupts, it's going to be very similar to what you saw in the movie 2012. So if you haven't seen the movie 2012, watch this little video clip on YouTube. It's only about a couple of minutes long, but it shows what Yellowstone National Park is going to look like when that super volcano does erupt. Okay, did you watch it? All right, it's pretty spectacular. And that really is going to happen in the future, but we don't exactly know when. But it is kind of overdue that it should be having an eruption. So you can be thinking about that tonight. All right, in our next segment, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about magnetism. So I'll see you in just a few moments.